And that brings us to the end of NBS Live at 9 tonight. I am Rukshana Namin-Bachtaka, but do not go away just yet. We are taking you back to Omoro, where the results in the by-election are coming through right now. Good night.
I would like to congratulate all of you for having participated in a very peaceful, tranquil exercise. I think let's clap for ourselves. For those of you who have been participating in this kind of process, you will agree this was one of the most calm and very peaceful exercise we have held so far. The greatest gratitude goes to the people of Omoro County. Because they exhibited high levels of civility, composure, and obedience to the guidelines and the law generally. To the extent that some of the equipment which most people, observers, were talking about as being an overdose were rendered irrelevant and immaterial. They remained stationed where they were put, I think, over yesterday or the other day. And that really emphasizes what the Commission has always underscored or pointed out, that the level and degree of the role of security in elections is largely determined by the conduct of ourselves. If we choose to be on the side of the law, so be it. Nobody will come in to coerce you to observe the law. So I want really to highly commend the people of Omoro that you have shown us a very big example. I also like to congratulate the candidates for your resilience. I know it has not been easy on your part. For the 90 days you had to canvass for support and convince the voters. I know in between you had some slight disruption when you complained against one another and you are required to appear before the Commission. But I think the Commission looked into all those matters and we felt that all of you should continue in the race, so that we give the people of Omoro the opportunity to be the final determinants of whom they feel will ably represent their interests in Parliament. So I thank you, candidates and your supporters. We'd also like to thank the members of security for having done a very commendable job in ensuring that an enabling environment or atmosphere prevailed in the whole of the Omoro County to allow the peaceful voters of Omoro to come out and cast their votes in the 84 polling stations. I know it has been a long day, so it's not a time for me to make lengthy speeches. But I just want to reiterate our commitment as a Commission that working together with the people of Uganda, we can ably and resolutely determine the destiny of this country. The destiny of this country lies in the hands of Ugandans, not anybody else. And therefore, whatever challenges we may encounter along this path of nurturing our democratic process, we believe we have the ability and the capacity to resolve them ourselves as we map out a way forward in ensuring that we have a peaceful, prosperous nation which is beneficial to all of us and our children and grandchildren yet to be born. I thank you. Finally, I want to thank the members of the Commission. We promised the people of Omoro that we are going to draft in a sizable number of competent officers of the Commission who will run the show within record time and ensure that, one, the materials are delivered in time. Secondly, The exercise is conducted in a professional manner, and thirdly, the retrieval is also accomplished in record time. We're talking among ourselves, with my colleagues, that of the many by-elections we have held, I think this is one of the very few where we are going to have the returning officer give the final declaration before midnight, 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. It's one of the few years. So Omoro really there's something about Omoro that I also can't explain. But I think it is because all of us, we put in our effort, political parties, the candidates, and everybody, security, to make sure we work in a tandem, we work as a team, so that we pull off this and let the detractors have their say. We don't mind about that. Finally, I would like to caution or to appeal to whoever will emerge victorious. I know we have two candidates, we have two slots rather, one for directly elected member of parliament to replace our gallant son of Uganda who passed on. The other one is for the woman councillor for Larogi and Lakwaya. But I want to appeal to whoever is going to be declared the victor in either of those slots, that please be magnanimous in your victory and reach out to your opponents, because this is not about Omoro, not yourself. And you need everyone to join hands to build Omoro and take it to another level from what the deceased member of parliament left it. So be magnanimous, reach out to your opponents and build a united front for the good of Omoro and for the good of Uganda as a whole. And I want to thank you, all of you who have come from outside Omoro. You have generally conducted yourself in a peaceful way. We found Omoro peaceful, and I think we are living it peaceful. That's how it should be. As you return to your various areas where you came from, may the journey mercies of God go with you. May we continue to work towards having a very prosperous country, a beloved country called Uganda. And I think we are all privileged, we are honored, we are blessed to be born Ugandans in this beautiful country, which everybody admires. Thank you. May God bless you.
Members, we are beginning with the position of the District Woman Councillor for Larogi Stroke Lakwaya. I, Kagona Moses, being the returning officer for Omoro Electoral District, having added up the number of votes cast as recorded on each declaration of results form in accordance with the Local Government Act Cap 243 as amended, declare that the total number of valid votes cast for each candidate are as follows. Ane Christine Topista, UPC 309, Ayo Mase, FDC, 708. Labor Margaret, Noop, 130. Laram Florence, 2,370. Laram Frank, Independent, 683. Total number of valid votes cast for candidates, 4,200. Total number of rejected ballot paper, 101. Total number of ballot papers counted, 4,301. Total number of spoiled ballot papers, 4. Accordingly, as returning officer for Omoro Electoral District, I declare Lalam Florence, who has obtained the largest number of votes, winner for Lalogi/Lakwaya Electoral Area, Omoro District. Congratulations. As requested, Lalam Florence contested as a candidate for NRM turning to director elected member Lalam Florence, I take this honor to congratulate you. Here is your DRA form. We can have many, but she will be coming for others. Director elected member of parliament, I, Kagona Moses, being returning officer for Omoro Electoral District, having added up the number of votes cast as recorded on each declaration of results form in accordance with section 53 of the Parliamentary Elections Act 2005, declare that the total number of valid votes cast for candidates are as follows: Kiza Oscar and 63, Odong Justin 529, Odonga Teres 532, for clarity, I beg to repeat. Kiza Oscar and 63, Odong Justin, FDC 529, Odonga Teres, Independent 532, Odong Andrew Olanya, Ojok Andrew Olanya for NRM 14,224. Onen Jimmy Walter 88 independent. Torid Simon Akecha Nope 1,633. Total number of valid votes cast for candidates 17,069. Total number of rejected ballot papers 385. Total number of ballot papers counted 17,454. Total number of spoiled ballot papers 10. Accordingly, as a returning officer for Moro Electoral District, and in accordance with Section 58, subsection 1 of the Parliamentary Elections Act, as amended, I declare Ojok Andrew Olanya, NRM, who has obtained the largest number of votes to be the elected candidates for Omoro County Constituency, Omoro District. Congratulations.
This is NBS Breaking News.
NRM candidate Andrew Ojokolanya has been declared the Member of Parliament-elect for Omoro County, having defeated 5 candidates. Andrew Ojokolanya has garnered 14,224 votes, defeating 5 candidates. Second to Andrew Ojokolanya has been Tolit Simon Akecha of NUP, having garnered 1,633 votes, and the independent Tereso Dong has come third with 532, and FDC comes fourth with 529. Independent Onen Jimmy comes next with 88 votes, and Chiza Oscar of Alliance for National Transformation has come last with 63 votes. And now what you're seeing are live pictures coming to you from Omoro. And Andrew Ojok Olanya, the son to the late Jacob Olanya, who has been the Member of Parliament for this same constituency, but unfortunately passed away. The son has been elected as the Member of Parliament for the same constituency, Omoro County. And we are going to be speaking to him in just a bit, but he's going to be handed his DR form to be able to showcase it to the public. We'll be speaking to him in just a bit. Andrew Ojokolanya is the MP-elect of Omoro County. We're going to be speaking to him to talk to us about how he feels about this victory. He has defeated 5 candidates, including National Unity Platform, Alliance for National Transformation, FDC, plus other independent candidates. 5 of them. He has garnered 14,224 out of about 17,000 votes that have been cast. Now, let me cross over to Benson, who is next to...
Definitely, the NRM candidate, Andrew Ojokolanya, has been declared the winner of tonight's votes. I definitely want to speak to him. Andrew Ojokolanya, what does this win mean for you and the people of Omoro?
This is a very important victory, especially given the number of votes in a by-election. Over 14,000 voters voted in favor of my candidature. It's a big statement. It's a big statement because we want to see how we can continue serving the people. I want to thank all the candidates who stood, because they've given alternatives to the people. That much as I was highly favored, there's still options out there. But I want to thank all those who stood with me, especially the party. They really stood and they've been here with me, camping to see that we secure the victory. I want to thank them very much. The NRM party, together with the chairman and the Secretary General, I want to thank them very much. I want to thank the local leadership here for consolidating this win. Because my message at the beginning of the campaign was that this election should unite us, should bring us together. Because my father passed on, but he had really tried to make Omoro known to the world. So this was a chance for us to consolidate what had been done to make Omoro more united. And I'm happy that the elections were peaceful, because we should be able to work together. Politics should not break us, should bring us together instead. We should be able to share ideas. I shouldn't hate you because you have an alternative view. Because if you have a different view, we can see how we can harmonize and push Omoro forward. So I'm really grateful for that statement.
The people you contested with still remain the people of Omoro County. What message do you have for them, the one that lost the election?
No, we need to come back to the drawing table. Let's sit together because they have brilliant ideas. The leaders have brilliant ideas. We should sit together and come with ideas that can help us move forward as Omoro. We should come back together as leaders of Omoro.
Thank you so very much. Andrew Ojokolanya, the declared winner of the Omoro County race 2022 in that by-election that has just ended and has been declared. I want to take you to Simon Njala for the front line tonight, and definitely Omoro topic will feature. Simon.
Well, thank you very much, Benson. What an eventful day, and that should actually set the tone for us. Welcome to the front line. My name is Simon Kagwanjala, sitting in for Charles, and I hope I'll steer you till midnight with our regular panelist of the frontliner, Honorable Norbert Mao, President of the Democratic Party. What a pleasure to see you after a while.
Thank you very much, Simon Kagwanjala.
Good to see you, and I love your shirt.
Today, Makerere was having a graduation, and I attended a graduation party for a young man called Timothy Otiti, who was brought up by a single mother in Kabarole. The father died when he was 2 years old. Now, that kind of achievement deserves to be celebrated. So, to honor my alma mater, I decided to wear this beautiful shirt. I couldn't find one in green.
Nice to see you. Honorable Joel Senyonyi, the spokesperson of the National Unity Platform and Member of Parliament for Nakao West. Good to see you.
Thank you, Simon. Good evening to you, to my co-panelists and the viewers out there.
And we have in the house our frontliner, Honorable Win Kiza, former leader of opposition and former woman member of Parliament for Kasese. Pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Simon, and good evening, viewers.
Well, in a while, we'll be connecting with Honorable Chris Bariomonsi, who is with us in the studio, but we just need to sort out something technical very fast, and we'll get to you. Joel, do you accept the outcome of today's results for the Omoro County as no?
What has happened today in Omoro County, for starters, it is not new, but it should worry every well-meaning Ugandan out there, away from the political parties that we belong to, away from the political sentiments, and so on and so forth. Every well-meaning Ugandan out there should be very concerned.
Because you've lost?
Because of the kind of election that has happened in Omoro County. You see, elections are a way for people to express themselves, who they want to lead them, the kind of course, whether it be their country or constituency in this case, that it should take, etc., etc. It's a way for voices to come out. Now, when an election is conducted in such a way that there's no allowance, there's no provision for the voices of the people to come out very clearly, it's very disturbing. Now, you see what has happened in Omoro, and we have been seeing even some of the journalists sharing these things, you know. From the very start, actually from last night, you know, we were very concerned about what we were seeing. These plateless cars, you know, actually not platelets because the number plates were covered, you know,
Clustered cars.
Whatever, were roaming within Omoro, beginning of last night. And the same continued today, you know, executing very suspicious operations. And we kept thinking, so if these operations are legitimate, why are you hiding? Our agents and election supervisors began to be arrested last night. And this morning, they were actually being picked up from polling stations to say, you have information, you're going to incite violence, come with us. Those that, you know, would not easily come, they would grab them. And they took a good number of them. Members of parliament, councillors, mayors, and that kind of thing. Because sometimes you think, okay, maybe they'll have a little respect for some of these people. They were picked up, and they are still behind bars. The reason is simple. They wanted to get them out of circulation and perhaps do whatever it is that they wanted to do.
Security says they were being disruptive to the processes.
But I thought I saw Biawakama there saying that the whole exercise was peaceful. So what disruption were they causing? Because if I'm a polling agent, I'm at a polling station with my letter authorizing me from the candidate to be there. And so we are there monitoring. Nothing is happening. There's even no chaos. You know, and then they come and pick them up. Because what they were telling them is, we have information, you are going to cause chaos. Not that they were causing chaos. No, no, no. It is, we suspect, we have information, you're going to cause chaos, so come with us. And they kept picking them, picking them, picking them. Many of them are still behind bars. And I can assure you, by close of tomorrow, they'll have released all of them with no charge. That happened in Hoima, it happened in Kayunga, it has happened severally, yeah? We saw, and you people even shared as well, distribution of money in this election. I was in Omoro over the weekend, and I was very bothered by what I saw. I saw the poverty in Omoro. I could literally smell it. Omoro has got 2 hotels. And by the way, what we call hotels up country is really a guest house. It's not your typical hotel, but they call them hotels because people go and pay and reside there. 2 of them, guest houses. The entire of it. And one of those, our people had booked therein and they were thrown out. Said, no, the whole place has been booked. When quietly they found out, they said RDCs had booked and whatever, and ministers. So we don't have space for you, unfortunately, please leave. 2, in the entire Omoro. When you move around Omoro and you see the way people live, you smell the poverty. And little wonder, they deployed Nabanja. You know, whenever you see Nabanja in an election, just know she has gone to distribute money. She did that in Kakumiro as a woman member of parliament during consultations for age limit. MPs were given money, go and consult. For what she told them, Sururu Moja, line up. And you people even shared the videos on NBS. I was still in the media myself. 5,000, 5,000. We saw what she did in Kayunga. Went and money, money, money. Again, you people ran the stories here. So when we saw her in Omoro, we said, here we go. And given the poverty there, you know, and then of course we began to see money exchanging hands. Today, you people also reported something interesting because there was ferrying of people from different places, you know, even outside of Omoro. And much of it was by these
plateless cars. The scores speak volumes. Your candidate got a mere 1,633. So before you actually raise issues to do with money and malpractices, let's look at the numbers. They're quite telling.
Simon, before we came on air, you were telling us how you participated in an election, and you were shocked when the announcement was made because you were sure I am the winner, you know, but when the returning officer announced, you said, wait a minute, what happened here? Sometimes it's important to
I thought that was off air.
Tell the story. It helps you get the perspective properly. Sometimes it's important to tell the story behind the numbers. I was just finishing with this element of this army truck, whose plates were also covered, and it was ferrying people around. And I kept thinking, okay, so if what you're doing is right, why are you actually covering the plates? The people fell off, some of them, and 4 of those got badly injured. I hope they are well, because their story to journalists was after they fell off, they were told by the army men who were driving, run to hospital. And so the truck fled, abandoned them, you know. You know, the Bible says in Proverbs 28:1, that the wicked run when no one is chasing them. And that's literally what happened. But what I was saying about the concern that should be on the mind of every well-meaning Ugandan is that what should be democracy gets to this place.
Well, thank you.
But in just 1 minute, because you see, when institutions break down, when systems break down, when democracy as it should breaks down, it becomes precarious. Mr. Museveni went to the bush in 1980 after that tumultuous election, and he said he had been rigged, and picked up guns, went to the bush. Over 500,000 people died. I don't know that we want to get to that place. We must, even when you belong to the NRM, this should concern you, that your candidate is declared winner after all this confusion and mess has
Honorable
happened.
Chris Bariomunsi, coming from NRM, does your party have any cause to celebrate in an election whose outcome is heavily disputed and the malpractices were out in full glare?
Who has disputed the results? Well, there is a saying in Chichiga Chinyankole that's a little bit vulgar. Let me sanitize it. It says a man who is not very well schooled in the bed matters will always blame the mattress or the mat that is slippery. When actually the problem is his. I have had Joel trying painfully to explain the loss of NUP and the other opposition parties. First, we are talking of disputed results. Who has disputed the results? Nobody. We have all been watching. Some of us have been in Omoro. The campaigns have been peaceful. Even the electoral process today has been peaceful. Even when we went on the ground, before even the voting, it was very clear as the day follows the night that NRM was in a comfortable lead, particularly our candidate.
So this was a
Mr.
predicted win for you?
Absolutely, absolutely. I was in Omoro myself, and I left sure that Ojok Andrew would win with a landslide. Even for those who, for instance, watched the debate where 5 out of the 6 candidates debated amongst each other. I am sure even those who don't support NRM were very clear that the young man, Ojok Andrew, beat the other.
If you are sure of a win,
yes,
why did we see all these incidents of distributing money? You were being accused of distributing money.
Where did you see them?
Fairing voters. I mean, it's been doing rounds all over social media.
On your television? Because NBS is there. Has it shown that people are giving money?
Cars with masked number plates.
Yeah. And they show that the NRM cars, are they marked yellow? Does it mean a car whose number plate is blocked is NRM?
Actually, for information, Honorable Chris, one of those cars, they forgot to remove 2 posters, one for Mr. Museveni on the right, the driver's side, on the left, Andrew Ojok's side, Andrew Ojok's poster, and then on the dashboard was the yellow cape NRM. They forgot that particular bit.
Well, you can give all sorts of excuses.
I was just giving information.
All sorts of excuses. You can even list up to 1,000. But it was very clear that in this by-election, Andrew Ojok, whom I congratulate, would clearly win. I was in Omoro, moved in the villages and so forth. It was clear the mood was to vote an NRM candidate.
Does the victory in Omoro qualify the notion that Acholi turned yellow?
He turned yellow a long time ago. Not only Acholi, but the Greater North. You know, at first, NRM was not a popular party in the Greater North, but the NRM government did not abandon northern Uganda. It continued providing services, constructing roads, extending electricity, education, health services, and people have appreciated that NRM has delivered. And that's why even in the last elections, NRM won decisively in northern Uganda. And in this election, even when you look at the quality of the candidates who were in the race, the other day they had a debate. They could not raise the issues. They were just attacking the young man that he's a boy, he's young, instead of raising issues of the people, just attacking. And he asked them, I think somebody asked them, if he's weak and a young boy, why are you bothered? Why don't you fight and you defeat him? But he could not defeat him. So it was very clear. Looking at the candidates, first of all, the NUP candidate, who was the second run-up, I think he made a mistake to cross from FDC to NUP, well knowing that when Jacob Walanya was on his deathbed, it is the supporters and sympathizers of NUP who were actually wishing him to die in America, saying, go back to Kampala and die from there. Somebody who is breathing his last. So did they expect people in Omoro to embrace NUP as a political party? A candidate like that of FDC, who was the formerly an LC3 chairman in a neighboring constituency, is the one whom they brought to stand in this constituency. So that makes you weak as a candidate, much as you may legally have a right to stand where you want to stand, but that one shows he's going to be weak. So the quality of the candidates, they couldn't measure up to.
Well, thank you very much.
So we congratulate our NRM candidate and thank the teams that have combed the villages through mobilization, and this is a deserved victory. The NUP and other opposition people can use all sorts of English to say it was rigged, but there was no rigging. The courts are there. Whoever has evidence that Ojok Andrew has won unfairly, you can go to courts of law.
Okay. Were you intrigued, were you disturbed in any way by the pictures that were making rounds of armed goons combing the entire constituency, picking supporters of opposition, making raids at FDC offices?
It's not that I didn't watch those. I am not a fan of social media that I spend time on social media. I didn't see.
And you're the Minister of ICT?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. A minister's role is not to be on social media all the time. But if they happen to do that, they're fortunate. But from the reports we are getting, the whole process was peaceful.
Well, thank you.
But we also know people manufacture footages and throw them on social media. Not everything you see on social media is genuine. That I'm also telling you as the Minister of Information.
Well, thank you very much. Honorable Winnie Kiza, your party, the Alliance for National Transformation, fronted a candidate in the constituency whose performance has been, by any description, dismal. What does this suggest to you, and what do you make of the outcome?
I first of all would like to congratulate the opposition candidates for going into this race. I congratulate Kiza for coming up as a brave man to also represent the Alliance for National Transformation. I can say yes, the time was minimal, 2 weeks for a campaign. And to someone who has not been in the race, he tried. Kiza based his campaigns on issues, much as he wants to disregard the other candidates that were there. He based his campaigns on issues, he based his campaigns on values, and I can say that possibly he didn't make it because the campaign had 2 issues. The first issue were the emotions of the people of Omoro. The fact that Ojok was replacing his father, who died, it sent signals of emotions amongst the voters. And of course, people were like, let's just sympathize with the young man. That notwithstanding, the pressure that was put on the opposition candidates, the intimidation, the torture that I saw being exhibited by the hooded goons that you have called goons, Chris does not only want to accept the fact that members of parliament were arrested by hooded goons. If they were officials from the police forces, I would have expected them to come in full combat, uniform, and tell the members of parliament why they are being arrested. And actually, the Honorable Karwanga kept asking, what have I done? Can you tell me the reason why you are arresting me? Instead of being told the reason, I just saw now the police increasing in number and those who are supposed to be anti-riot police now coming in to surround the member of parliament. And so when someone comes up to say the election was free and fair and they are celebrating, In this situation, what are we celebrating?
What were your expectations in the first place?
Are we celebrating the beating of people? I expected that the election should be free and fair because that is the purpose. Why people go for elections? You know, the Honorable Joel Senyonyi said President Museveni went to the bush, that an election went bad. He went to the bush, he was not the one whose election was rigged. Actually, he went to the bush that a DP election had been rigged. Himself, he had been won by Honorable Sam Kutesa.
Sam Kutesa, yeah.
So these members you are belittling, Honorable Chris, can go to the bush, just like your president went to the bush. It wasn't his election, he was UPM. It was the DP election that was rigged, but President Museveni went to the bush. And it's very unfortunate that many years after that, his party still does the same things that took him to the bush. That we still see elections being rigged. And it's unfortunate that even the Electoral Commission boss says the election was free and fair. When people are in jail, when police was arresting supporters of the opposition, when police was picking up agents, what an election.
Yeah, but given the trend that has characterized all the past by-elections, would you be surprised that there were such incidents?
Sometimes we keep thinking that will be better. And you know, sometimes members of the opposition are pressed between a hard place and a rock. The election in Uganda and with members of the opposition, we are like plants that grow up in the wilderness.
We're expecting
and they stop heckling. OO has told us that those who speak when it is not their turn are hecklers, and I wouldn't expect a minister to heckle.
Okay.
Didn't know that word until OO said it.
Some decorum, please, Honorable. Please, continue.
That's Bariomusi.
That is Bariomusi, the Minister of National Guidance.
Yes.
So I was saying that opposition political parties are playing in a playground that is not leveled always. That's why they find themselves between a hard place and a rock. And we keep thinking that possibly democracy will prevail. We shall have free and fair elections, that when we come up here to celebrate, a winner is celebrating and the others will say, yes, congratulations, colleague, you won us.
Honorable Bariomusi says
now,
it was free and fair.
Because for them, their yardstick is after beating people, then you call it a free and fair election. If they were able to call the Kayunga election a free and fair, the Hoima one a free and fair, the many elections where they have beaten people, they call them free and fair, what else do you expect from them? They are also products of such elections. So to them, after beating people and you win your way, it is a free and fair election. To them, it's the end that justifies the means.
Well,
while to us who believe in democracy, we believe that an election should be a clean process that every Ugandan should be able to believe in. So really, it's so sad that after all those years of the NRM regime, a regime that came to power after going to the bush, we still see such things happening.
Thank you very much. Honorable Norbert Mao, you're quite pivotal in the Acholi politics. And as one of the seniors in the opposition, how significant is today's election in Omoro?
The election has not increased the number of NRM MPs because
they are now +1.
This was an NRM seat. So in terms of the balance of power in parliament, whichever way it would have gone, it wouldn't have been significant in terms of the balance of power. That is a fact. Number two, elections where the seat at stake falls vacant as a result of death, and then there's a candidate who is a biological child of the deceased, tends to be very emotive. And with all the drama and noise around the death of the late speaker, it became even more difficult. It was uphill for those who are going against Andrew Ojokolanya.
Does that explain your no-show as DP?
We didn't have a candidate in 2021. We don't have a laboratory for manufacturing candidates, and we don't run for exercise. We run when we have a candidate, and so that is really not the reason. And there are more than 20 parties, and some of the parties even fielded candidates, and then the candidates disappeared and so on. I've not seen you roasting them. But anyway, you're a specialist in roasting DP, which is allegedly your party.
You should come back home.
But anyway, let us not go there. Let us just talk about why, let me say, biology plays a very strong role. And that cuts across all political parties. I know for sure when the father of the Honorable Lengot died, she was hardly 18. I think she had just turned 18. She was elected. In your own constituency, when our late chairman of the DP caucus, Honorable Musisi, died, his young son in the 20s, Balikudembe Mutebi, was easily elected to replace him. When we lost Susan Namaganda in a tragic car accident, so we have all been culprits. I went there to the funeral and basically announced that the sister would be the DP candidate.
Without going through the systems?
The president is the chief executive, and if his pronouncements are not correct, they can be challenged through appropriate measures.
Okay.
So when you're a chief executive, you can act for the executive, but you can be overruled by the organ. So eventually, Veronica Nanyondo stood, and we even did a deed poll for her to add the name Namaganda to her name, just like Nebanda. This lady, her name was not Nebanda, but she did a deed poll to add Nebanda. That is political branding. Every party wants to take advantage of sentiments and currents that are prevailing in a constituency. When our MP for Chotera, Robina Sentongo, died, the daughter, a young lawyer called Fortunate Nantongo, was available. Again, I went to the burial and blessed her in the name of the founders of DP, and she was able to win against all odds. So it was not a surprise that the NRM found that it would be, yes, Kamuli municipality, the same story.
For Wetongola.
Yeah.
Yes, Watongola. It is not only in Uganda. You can have a brand. Of course, we have got to caution ourselves, because eventually you end up with dynasties, and that of course is only explainable by human psychology. For instance, in America, because of the achievements of Kennedy, when you are Kennedy, somehow people think you will resurrect Camelot and bring back the memory of John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated. When you are Bush, when you are, I'll not be surprised if one day Chelsea Clinton decides to run. I'll not be surprised if one day Malia Obama decides to run. So that explains the tailwind that Andrew Olanya was benefiting from. So in many ways, he was on a slope while his opponents were on a hill. This week I was not following the campaign so much because I lost my paternal uncle, so I was busy. But I had the chance to follow the debate, and I have to say the young man, Andrew Ojok, was impressive. We have got to reach a point where if we really want multipartism, you can't say nothing good can come out of any party. Then we need to stop building political parties and just build armies, and we the leaders of parties become warlords, then we'll be honest. But as long as we believe that if NUP takes over power, I'm safe under NUP, and they'll give me the minimum. If NRM, and these are the things we are fighting for from those who continue to be the leaders in government successively.
So, Ojok's victory was foreseeable, in your opinion?
It is explainable and also foreseeable. And I didn't know that he was capable of rising to the occasion, actually. I personally thought it was the son of Jacob's younger brother, the one who is an RDC, who has been in the field with Jacob campaigning, also a good mobilizer from my own assessment. I thought he was the one who was going to be the candidate.
Would you give it to NRM for putting up a good show that's enabled them to get all these votes? 14,224 against 1,633.
The NRM, I think, benefited a lot from having the son of Jacob as a candidate, because any other candidate would have definitely had a problem. Any other candidate, not from the family. In fact, the campaign started on the day of the burial. You do remember Jacob's brother took the microphone and generally appealed for the sympathy of the people of Omoro, and even introduced Andrew and said, please, I ask you to support the late son, Andrew Ojokolanya, to go to Parliament. So the event was not just about burying, but as usual, the selection of Andrew Ojok as the NRM candidate also had a backfire. Usually there is a backfire. Each time I pronounce myself as DP president and, in quotes, anoint somebody who is related to a deceased MP, I get blasted. And they say, you know, this is not democratic. But every party wants to go into a race with as much advantage as possible.
As we take a break, Honorable Mao, does the sentiment on the ground, I believe you have your feelers on the ground, does the sentiment speak to a free and fair election?
A free and fair election is not an academic concept. A free and fair election has benchmarks. Number one, there should be access by all candidates to campaign. I heard the NUP candidate thanking the government of Uganda for allowing the NUP leader to campaign freely in Omoro. That is on record. Now, I didn't hear him complaining that he was being impeded. I definitely saw a lot of reports. I saw this plastered number plate. That is unacceptable. If you have to cover your number plates, it is prima facie a sign that you are coming to do something which is illegal. If I came to your house and I'm Norbert Mao, because I know you know me, and then I wear a hood, if you see someone like that, you know they are up to no good. There's no need for the NRM to pretend that those things can be explained away. But as a matter of fact, they are totally unacceptable. Because a car with no number plate, anything can happen to it. And above all, there was even no need for them to hide, because they've been doing it anyway.
Maybe there was a vehicle from Parliament where somebody was on top, UGH, which saturated. So maybe those were driving government vehicles. And
that was Honorable Mpuga's car, the leader of opposition. Yes. It wasn't plastered.
It was not, but saturated widely on social media.
You saw
the government car.
That one you saw.
Yes.
You never saw the rest.
So Honorable Chris, what's the excuse you're trying to make for the plastered cars? The plastered
I'm saying maybe there are those
no, he's making another point.
This is innuendo. Had the government number plates.
How about the army truck that was ferrying people, which also had a plastered number plate? They eventually fell off and then it sped off.
But why would you press an enemy vehicle because it has the green color?
Or maybe that's no propaganda.
But you know,
No, that cannot be propaganda. But what I know is in by-elections, whoever can ferry the most voters to go and vote usually wins. Now, no party has enough money to privately transport voters. Of course, NRM took advantage. Now, that tips the scale in favor of NRM, and that is unfair.
So from the beginning, it was NRMs to lose, right?
No, but what makes you think that the vehicles which are plastered are from NRM?
So the army truck was dispatched by NUP.
What we know is that at least army trucks. Yes. Fortunately, I've never seen a civilian with a Unimog lorry. Even if the number plate is not plastered, you can know. Like, for instance, police vehicles. Yeah. What is the point of plastering the number plate? Because the police vehicles are blue. They are fabricated in a certain way to carry personnel. So to that extent, if we are to refer to the Electoral Commission, we can say the elections were free and peaceful, but not fair.
We'll take a break at this very moment, and when we return, we'll still continue with that digest of the Omoro election and what it means to the electoral politics of the country. Good evening.